1 Kings, chapter 10. And the queen of Sheba, hearing the fame of Solomon concerning the name of the Lord, came to prove him with hard questions. And she came to Jerusalem with a very great train, and camels that bear sweet odors, and gold exceeding much, and precious stones. And she came to Solomon, and communed with him of all that was in her heart. And Solomon declared unto her all her questions. Nothing was hid from the king, which he expounded not unto her. Then the queen of Sheba saw all Solomon's wisdom, and the house that he had built, and the meat of his table, and the sitting of his servants, and the order of his ministers, and their apparel, and his drinking vessels, and his burnt offerings that he offered in the house of the Lord. And she was greatly astonished. And she said unto the king, It was a true word that I heard in mine own land of thy sayings, and of thy wisdom. Howbeit I believed not this report till I came, and had seen it with mine eyes. But lo, the one half was not told me, for thou hast more wisdom and prosperity than I have heard by report. Happy are thy men, happy are these thy servants which stand ever before thee, and hear thy wisdom. Blessed be the Lord thy God, which loved thee, to set thee on the throne of Israel, because the Lord loved Israel forever, and made thee king to do equity and righteousness. And she gave the king 60 talents of gold, and of sweet odors, exceeding much, and precious stones. There came no more such abundance of sweet odors as the queen of Sheba gave to King Solomon. The navy also of Hiram, that carried gold from Ophir, brought likewise great plenty of almugam trees from Ophir, and precious stones. And the king made of the almugam trees pillars for the house of the Lord, and for the king's palace, and made harps and psalteries for singers. There came no more such almugam trees, nor were any more seen unto this day. And King Solomon gave unto the queen of Sheba whatsoever she would ask, besides that which Solomon gave her of his kingly liberality. So she returned, and went to her own country, both she and her servants. Also the weight of gold that came to Solomon in 1 year was 666 talents of gold, besides that he had of merchantmen, and of the merchandises of them that sold spices, and of all the kings of Arabia, and of the princes of the country. And King Solomon made 200 targets of beaten gold. 600 shekels of gold went to a target, and 300 shields of beaten gold. 3 pounds of gold went to 1 shield. And the king put them in the house of the wood of Lebanon. Then the king made a great throne of ivory, and covered it with the best gold. And the throne had 6 steps, and the top of the throne was round behind. And there were stays on either side of the place of the throne, and 2 lions standing by the stays. And there stood 12 lions on the 6 steps on either side. There was not the like made in any kingdom. And all King Solomon's drinking vessels were of gold, and all the vessels of the house of the wood of Lebanon were of pure gold. None were of silver, for it was nothing esteemed in the days of Solomon. For the king had on the sea the navy of Tarshish, with the navy of Hiram. Once in 3 years came the navy of Tarshish, and brought gold and silver, ivory, and apes, and peacocks. So King Solomon exceeded all the kings of the earth, both in riches and in wisdom. And all the world sought to see Solomon, to hear his wisdom, which God had put in his heart. And they brought every man his present, vessels of silver, and vessels of gold, and raiment, and armor, and sweet odors, horses, and mules, from year to year. Then Solomon gathered together chariots and horsemen, and he had 1,400 chariots, and 12,000 horsemen, whom he placed in the chariot cities, and with the king at Jerusalem. And the king gave silver in Jerusalem as stones, and gave cedars as the wild fig trees, that grow abundantly in the plain. Also Solomon had horses brought out of Egypt, and fine linen. The king's merchants received the linen for a price. There came up and went out of Egypt some chariot worth 600 shekels of silver, that is, 1 horse, 150. And thus they brought horses to all the kings of the Hittites, and to the kings of Aram, by their means.